Where do I start? I said love comes naturally. Yeah.
Tony, always appreciate it. So Arizona Kwanzaa, everyone. Happy Kwanzaa. As always, whenever I start off talking, I always want to just take the moment, just acknowledge and appreciate the honor to be able to always give a talk here for Community Miracle Center. Because as I say, it's always a privilege for me to be able to do talks here. And it's also always a extra privilege to be able to do the annual Kwanzaa talk. As Reverend Tony, mentioned, I've been doing it ever since I was ordained back in 2004, and so it's been great to be able to do it. And I also always just want to take the time to thank Reverend Tony, who actually used to do the Kwanzaa talk before I became ordained, and how much I appreciate that and value the fact that you did do that. And just also just value the fact that, Community Miracle Center in general is very good at acknowledging all the different holidays that exist. And, it's just a reminder of how much our center is about inclusiveness to make sure that we honor everything. And I just always appreciate that and just very much value that very much regarding that aspect of it. And as I usually, do, as I say, I usually always turn it over usually to the Holy Spirit of what I'm going to talk about. Well, this time I knew I was going to talk about Kwanzaa, so I didn't have to turn it over too much to the Holy Spirit regarding that aspect of it. But yet, always ask Holy Spirit for guidance on what the message that the Spirit wants me to talk about regarding that aspect of it. And so, as I, mentioned earlier, I, greeted us with saying Ariza Kwanzaa, which is Happy Kwanzaa. But there's also another greetings that actually exists within Kwanzaa, which is called Abre Ganye. And Abre Ganye is another way of asking what's new or what's happening. So that's another way of greeting for Kwanzaa. And also, normally when you actually greet with Abre Ganye, what you do is say the word of the day, the principle of the day, which is today is Kuumba, which is creativity. So you would say Abre Ganye, and then the person will respond with saying of the principle of the day, which is Kuumba today, regarding that aspect of it. And then I always find that very, wonderful of being able to have something to actually reflect upon when you actually do a greeting, because that's something that we normally don't do. Usually we say, hi, how are you doing? We say fine, but this is getting us the opportunity to reflect upon a particular word, regarding that aspect of it, which I find very wonderful regarding that aspect of it. And so Kwanzaa is actually Swahili. It's actually a Pan-African language, which is pretty much the whole idea is to reflect the African American, African experience, and really for us to get to the point to really understand our culture rather than, Pacific groups and stuff regarding that aspect of it. And one of the things about Kwanzaa, which I always appreciate, and which, since the pandemic we have not been able to do, is Kwanzaa always have these beautiful altars that is just absolutely incredible, with people bringing different things that represents, themselves, their culture, their community, whatever that is regarding that aspect of it. And so before the pandemic, when we used to meet in person, Community Miracle Center used to, have these altars. And one of the great thing is to see how each year it grew. The altar kept getting bigger and bigger, and more people kept getting more and more involved. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing to be able to see. So even though we can't see it now because we're virtual, just imagine and just vision what it's like to have a altar with so many beautiful pictures, statues, anything that actually represent who you are regarding that aspect of it. It's just a beautiful image to be able to have, regarding that aspect of it. And the other thing with the altar, one of the main things that exist on the altar is the Kanara, and that is actually the candle holder. And the candle holder is actually the thing that actually holds the seven different candles that actually you could place on the Kanara regarding that aspect of it. And so there is one black candle, three red candles, and three green candles. So just vision that, on the altar, and vision, what that, looks like, regarding that aspect of it. And so the whole idea is that start off the new year with, lighting, the black candle, which is black candle is actually represents unity. And when I thought about that, and when I, reflect upon that, I'm like, wow, that's very fascinating that the first candle that is lit is the black candle, which is about unity. And it reminds me, as course students, and how we always talk about oneness, that we're not separate, that we actually are all one. And just think that that's one of the key principles of Kwanzaa, unity, which is collective. It's about all of us. It's not about separation. It really is about one, and how much that just really in line with the way that the course is teaching us regarding an aspect of it. And so it is really remarkable to be able to see that and to be able to understand that more regarding that aspect of it. And then we have the red candle, which is the red candle is, about the struggles that we, went through regarding that aspect of, specifically they're saying African and African American, but just think about all the struggles that we all went through regarding that aspect of it. But then I took a moment and reflected upon that and was like, yes, it is about the struggles that we went through. And whenever you actually light a candle, a red candle, guess what? That's a moment of healing, that we are bringing healing to those struggles that we all appear to have in our past and in our present regarding that aspect of it. And so it's taking something that appears to be challenging, but yet bringing a light and love to it regarding that aspect of it. And then the final candle is the green candle, which represents our future. It represents hope. And for me, just thinking and just envisioning how things have shifted and changed so much over the years, and that there is hope. There is hope because we are starting to see and starting to manifest the energy of uplifting all of us in such a positive way. And we're able to now get to the point to shift and change our minds and to see that. And one of the great things about it that I like, that I appreciate, that I am recognizing is how our new generation is seeing that. They're bringing a hope. They're our future. They're helping us see things, the way they should be able to be regarding that aspect of it. And so it's just such a beautiful thing regarding that aspect of it. And so those are what the three candles themselves actually, represent regarding that. Aspect of it. And, the more and more I think about it, and more and more I think about the representations of those candles, it really is overall about hope for each and every one of us. It is not separation. It's everyone. Even though this is a Black African American, holiday, it's for all of us. It's all of us collectively as one. And that's the beauty of it. And so the purpose of the principles themselves in a little bit more detail is it really is about us learning how to organize and enrich our relations with each other on a personal level, but also on a community level. See, once again, community, bringing all of us together as one, establishing our standards, our commitments, and priorities that would tend to enhance our human possibilities as person and as people, helping us to learn how to aid in our own recovery and our own reconstruction of our lost historical memory and achievements. And I like this part. I really like the whole idea of also our achievement, because so often, so much, we want to focus on things that we haven't done, and yet we don't take the time to appreciate the things we have done, to honor the incredible achievement that each and every one of us do every moment of the day, and then serve as a contribution to a core system of communitarian ethical values for the more guidance and instructions of the community, especially for our children. I love the fact that they really take the moment to honor our children as well. and then contribute to an ongoing and expanding set of Afrocentric communitarian values. So that was the purpose of the seven principles, which I'm going to go into in a second, of the different seven principles regarding that aspect of it. And so Kwanzaa, it was actually conceived and developed by a Dr. Malana Ronkaringa, which was first celebrated on December 26, 1966. And it actually came out of all the things that was happening during the 60s, all the social and political changes that was going on regarding that aspect of it. And so the idea was to bring this to light, to be able to recognize that, to understand that. And it was an opportunity for us to learn how to get to the point where we recognize the things that was happening in the 60s, but it was an opportunity to start learning how to forgive, learning how to really bring that healiness into the space regarding that aspect of it. And so it's celebrated from December 26th until January 1st. It is based on the agriculture celebration of Africa called the First Fruits, celebrations which were times of harvest, ingathering, reverence, commemoration, recommitment. Wow, recommitment and celebration. It was a time of ingathering of African Americans for celebration for their heritage and their achievements, reverence for the creator and creation, commemoration of the past, recommitment to our cultural ideals, and celebration of the good. Wow, beautiful. I just find that so beautiful, of just thinking and understanding the essence of what it really is about. And the beauty of it is not just, as I said earlier, about Black African Americans, about all of us being able to add as part of who you are, about your own cultural identity and how you see it, and bringing it to light more and more. And as I mentioned, it was created during the struggles, during the liberations in the 60s. And as we were during those times, there was a lot going on. At that time, the women liberation was starting to come forward regarding an aspect of it. Stonewall for the LGBT plus community. Of course, the civil rights, all that was happening around that time. And very interesting, and thank you, Reverend Peter, for confirming this when I asked you earlier, is in the 1960s, that is a time when Helen Schucman started to begin to channel A Course in Miracles. Think about that. Everything that was going on in the 60s at that time, and then suddenly, Helen started the process of channeling A Course in Miracles, which A Course in Miracles is all about us recognizing, one, that we are all one, recognizing that it's an opportunity for us to truly learn how to forgive things that happened to us in our past, letting go of all grievances, bringing healing, bringing love. It's just like, wow, at that moment, something must have known, because things happen for a reason. And I think there was a reason why at that moment the challenge started, because I think it was a preparation of realizing that we're going to have to start manifesting the true healing, the true trauma that we've all have experienced through our lives, through learning a spiritual practice that actually sees everyone as one and love each and every one for who they are. Such a beautiful, remarkable thing when I just took the moment and realized and recognized how that all came about. And so the seven principles of Kwanzaa, I'm going to first say it in the Swahili and then the English. UMOJA is the first principle, which is unity, which is about to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. The second principle, KUJCHAGULIA, which is self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. UJIMA, which is collective work and responsibility, to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. UJAMA, Cooperative Economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other business, and to profit for them together. NIA, Purpose, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Kuumba, Creativity, to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. And then 7, IMANI, faith, to believe with all of our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggles. And when I think about all these 7 principles, they're absolutely, amazing. And one thing that kept coming to my mind that I reflect upon and understand that all of it was about us doing things together. It was not about individual, not at all. Just another reminder of the course that we're all one. It really is about us doing things together to make things better for each and every one of us. What a wonderful gift that we are getting because of that. Absolutely incredible. So one of the things also about Kwanzaa, throughout the day, you reflect on the principle of the day. And today's principle of the day, which is Kuumba, which is creativity, which is, once again, to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. And so I had the time to think about, this principle and to really, reflect on it and to really pay attention to what does it means for me, especially now that, in my life and how do I see it. And so I took the time to reflect upon, this past year and just throughout my journey of my 54 years of life, here in this world that we are in, regarding that aspect of it. And, and a couple of things, came to my mind. One of the things is the thing, of the work that I do, working for the, San Francisco Department of Public Health, where I've been there for 31 years now. And, and the work that I do there, which is very much which is very much about doing work in the community themselves regarding that aspect of it. And so when I'm thinking of this principle of the whole idea of bringing beautiful and leaving things the way that they were to involve, it's just a wonderful thing to recognize that I got put in a place where I get the opportunity to see things shift and change in different communities that I, work in. And then the course actually reminds us of this. The power of decision is your own, is your one remaining freedom as a prisoner of this world. You can decide to see it right. We can decide to see it right. And so it made me think and just made me reflect on my 31 years with the health department. And so when I first started with the health department, I actually did work regarding HIV and AIDS for like the first 15 to 20 years of my career. And as some of you may be aware of, when HIV and AIDS first came about, it really, really took a toll on the LGBT community, specifically the gay community regarding that aspect of it. And so it was a lot of work to be able to do that. And so it was a hard time for the community, during that time period. And then yet you saw how the community rallied together to be able to help and shift things in a different way, in a different light regarding that, aspect of it. And for me to be able to be in a position to be able to help with that process, to take something that was very harmful to a community and to help see things in a different perspective of helping people realize that even though we have this appearance of something, that we can still live and we can still go about our life in a healthy way if we find ways to be able to do it. And we do that by coming from a positive perspective and not see things as negative. And I was very fortunate to be able to do that for so many years, to be able to see the light in individuals and help them see the light in themselves and not beat themselves up. Because a lot of times that's what people wanted to do. And when I think about the whole idea of making things more beautiful than we already have, that is lifting people up, lifting their spirit up, being there for them to help them see who they really are. And I've been able to do that, in the work that I did with HIV. And I've been able to do that in the work that I do when I look at the health disparities overall around Black and African Americans in the city. To be able to see is like, no, we're not looking at the deficit. We're looking at the incredible resiliency, the incredible spirit that you have, and bringing that to light and having them see that's who they really are. That's what the community is. And that's the beauty that we're continuing to move forward in those communities, to be able to help them to be able to see that, light within themselves, and to be able, for me, to be in a position to be able to do that and continue to do that. It's been a remarkable experience for me. So the power of decision is in us, how we can take the time and shift and take things that appears to be bad or judgmental and all, whatever it is, and lift it up into the light. Just imagine what that looks like when you're able to do that and how much beauty you're bringing to those communities by doing that. You are afraid of me because you look within and are afraid of what you saw, yet you cannot have seen reality, for the reality of your mind is the loveliness of God's creation. Wow, the loveliness of God's creation. For me, not only besides the work that I do with the health department, it also brings the light to the work that I've been able to be involved with within my softball league. Samson Good Softball League that's been around for 50 years. We celebrated 50 years in 2023. And I cannot imagine an organization being around that long for the LGBT. And then seeing how the league itself has shifted and changed over time to make things welcoming for every single person, regardless of what your sexual orientation is, regardless of what your gender identity is, regardless of your social economic status. Every single person is welcome because it's about bringing a culture of seeing the beauty in every single person and bringing it to light, bringing it into that sunshine so people can see how worthy they are, not only as an individual, but as a community. And that's the way I see Kuumba, of really looking at all these different types of communities and seeing how we actually are bringing them to the light and seeing the beauty that actually exists in that. And then our league is very fortunate because not only because, I am the commissioner of the league since I've been since 2008, and I study a spiritual practice that helps me bring this message to our organization. We also have Reverend Peter, who's also part of the league as well. So two spiritual individuals who gets it and understands that what it is about. And it really is about each and every one of us being one. Each and every one of us seeing the beauty and the love in each and every individual we encounter and helping them to see that within themselves. When you have accepted your mission to project peace, you will find it. For by making it manifest, you will see it. When we think about Kuumba, when we think about to do always as much as we can in the way we can, in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited, let's not look at the surface. Let's look deep in all the things that we're doing to ensure that every single one in this world are experiencing the beauty that is within themselves. And that we, as miracle workers, as spiritual leaders, is manifesting that energy and seeing the light in each and every encounter we have. And I want to acknowledge the light that Robert mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago when he talked about the work he's doing in a prison. That is his purpose, the beauty to bring the light to those individuals and see them for who they are. And that's what we're all about. We are changing the dynamic of how this world was and bringing the actual beauty, the actual love, and the actual healing in everything that we do. And that's how we leave things the way it used to be. That's how we move forward. And that's how we would continue to evolve in ways that someday nothing's going to matter. Race, sexism, any of that. We're going to all be one and see the beauty in each and every one of us. Arizal Kwanzaa, and that is my talk.
Build it out of hickory bark.